Shields up, Ironbreakers. Rurikhan here, coming at you with another episode of the Third Fleet Podcast. This is episode 78. How you doing, Gaijin?
Yow! Doing good. Yeah, I just got my throat back. I went outside, touched grass, and, first time
and you
in 4
catch
years
sickness.
I catch a throat virus. Yeah, I get sick.
So
I'm not doing this outside crap anymore. I'm staying in, man.
Yeah, the gameplay loop is not as good as staying in, dude. It's just like, forget about it.
It's the same end game. It's all about the money.
It's all about the money. So, team,
grinding.
Today's episode is going to be dedicated to Final Fantasy XVI. In case people are not aware, this is a game that both me and Gaijin, as Final Fantasy XIV enjoyers, have been eagerly anticipating to see what the team
enjoyers. I like that. It's a much better word than addict.
Yes, enjoyers. Like not to mention, like, when you say enjoyer, people tend to associate it with the Giga Chad meme. I'm not sure when that became a thing, but it's kind of like you got the Giga Chad meme whenever you are an enjoyer or something, and I'm like, this is great, this is fantastic. But we wanted to see what Creative Business Unit 3 could do with a single player game. Now I'm gonna be real. And by the way, before we begin, we should mention, like, the first half of the podcast is going to be completely spoiler free. And we will warn you when we jump into spoilers. Gaijin actually made a vote for the community asking people, how'd you like us to do a podcast on 16? You want to see spoilers? Do you not want to see spoilers? So first half, completely spoiler-free. We're not going to touch any spoilers, not going to ruin your experience. And then second half, we will talk about spoiler specifics and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I'm sure there'll be a time code so you can see the split as well, and we'll warn you.
Yep. I'll be splitting up the whole thing as I usually do with the chapters and all of that jazz, so you don't have to worry. But yeah, that is definitely something we wanted to see what Creative Business Unit 3 was going to do with it. And I'm going to tell you, I went into it with maybe too high expectations. I was like, this is going to be the best Final Fantasy story ever. But I realized that, like, no, 14 still holds a very special place in my heart when it comes to the.
Well, you actually thought it was going to compete with 14?
Yes.
You crazy.
Yes. I mean, look, it came close. It came close. Like, I really like the story.
The highs are really high, yeah.
Yes. It is a very good story.
Realism.
Go ahead.
No, I was saying, be real though. You can't compare to. Nothing. I'm not sure if any art could compare to 14 at this point.
It's going to be very hard because the thing about 14 is just the amount of hours that you play the game, and there's a lot of build up throughout that, and to the point where then when they do a callback, you're like, oh my god, I remember that thing from like 200 hours ago.
Yeah.
So it's going to be very hard. That's what I realized. It's going to be very hard for, like, a single player story game to kind of, like, compete with all of those hours of stories and highs and lows and callbacks and all of that. But I still greatly enjoyed the story of it, for sure.
Yeah, I went into it with expectations that were very high, but in a way I'm still coming off of my quote-unquote divorce from the mainline FF games.
Yeah.
As we've talked about, I just have not been interested in it at all. I just don't like the storytelling that happened once they made that change to, like, full voice act, AAA quality. It lost the spark for me. So 14 got me back in, so if it wasn't for 14, I wouldn't have really paid too much attention. I probably would have tried it and be like, okay, but yeah, I came in with really high expectations because, it's the team that's doing it. I'm so pumped on them right now. It's like, there's no way they could live up to the expectations, but the thing is, at the end of the day, they did. I think for me, the highs were so above even the highs that I had put up there in my expectations that it forgives the lows that it does have. And at the end of the day, it's like, that was a delight.
I absolutely loved every moment that I played of the game, which is interesting because there's been a lot of discourse around 16. There's a lot of publications, I would say, like from mainstream media, that for some strange reason they want to trash this game. Like, it feels almost intentional. Like, no, we don't like this. And it's weird because you know how I retweeted that Jesse Cox Twitter post where he shows like 4 articles from Kotaku where they're absolutely trashing the game. And I went to the trouble of reading all of those articles.
I did as well.
And there's nothing good there. There's just nothing. It's nothing burger after nothing burger. And in some of those articles, I was even like, did you play the game? Like, because the things that you're saying here make no sense according to what I've experienced. It just makes no sense. But the interesting thing was, I also went and I read their review, and their review is actually good.
That's what happens when you have inconsistencies around internal voices, and you got to look for the writers, not the site, I guess. But,
because
it's so hit and miss.
There's definitely been a lot of people that have been just like looking for easy clicks when it comes to 16. That it's just
people are so weird in 2023. You got like the FF7 remake people now going after 16 and trying to duke it out. I'm like, y'all need to. You're really bored or something. Like, seriously,
dude.
Like,
I was about to say, imagine like somebody from Monster Hunter World not liking Monster Hunter Rise, and then I was like, wait, that happened.
Yeah,
that actually happened.
What I'm curious about, is it because it's a numbered title? Because I know like Japan has a fascination with the numbered titles, and I could see why. But like Stranger of Paradise was a huge departure, wasn't it, from like mainline Final Fantasy? But people gave that a pass, and they're like, yeah, it's its own thing, whatever.
I don't remember what the discourse was at the time.
I mean, people memed on the main character, of course, because he's super memeable. But when I
played the beta, I actually didn't like it because I didn't like the gameplay. But they did a lot of changes in the final.
You didn't want to kill Chaos. But you did kill Chaos.
Would you look at the time? It's time to kill Chaos.
Yes.
But it's
kids, what do we do to Chaos? We kill him.
We kill Chaos.
Yeah,
but it's definitely been one of those things where there's just been a lot of opinions that I've seen, and then I look at the game and I try to be as objective as I can. Naturally, every review is subjective, in my opinion.
Yeah, I can't be objective. Nope.
So it's like, there are things in the game that I didn't like, but a lot of the stuff that I see people complain about, like, ooh, the worst side quests ever. And I was like, really?
I think their problem, and this is way too broad of a stroke to be painting, but for the sake of conversation, I'll say it, but I think it just comes down to that they didn't want a character action game.
They didn't want I called this a spectacle fighter, which I believe was something that Total Biscuit
the industry
coined.
term now is character action. It's
character
weird,
action, that's the industry term? Okay.
Yeah, character action game is like Bayonetta, Devil May Cry.
Okay.
It's a character action game with some, RPG elements, I would say.
Yeah.
And just a real focus on, as a character action game, it focuses on like one character. I mean, there's great side characters, but they are side characters, and I think there's discourse about that because, FF games have always been long, drawn out, lots of text reading, where this is really just like strap in your seat. You're going to the movie theater, you're on for a ride, and it ain't stopping much until the end.
Yeah, unless you take the time to do the side quests, which,
I love the side quests.
I like the side quests. I think that there are some really good side quests in the game. Which makes me wonder where this conversation about like the worst side quests ever. And I've seen some feedback, like some people in my video were saying like, well, the reason I don't like side quests because it takes like, what was it? I think it was 5 minutes to start, 1 minute to do, and then 3 minutes to finish, because alluding to like the dialogue and stuff. But
yeah,
that's kind of like
character story.
Yeah, that's the good part. That's where you're learning about the world, and I guess that people are complaining about the fact that it is a character action game. So it's all about the action. Where's the RPG? Where's the world building?
And then when you get the RPG,
and then when you get to the RPG part, it's like, this is boring. I don't like it. It's like, I don't understand. It's so weird.
You're like, oh, it's simple battle. I'm like, wait, FF has. I mean, I've been out of FF for years now, but I mean, let's not kid ourselves. The past games, it was never about difficulty, right? Like you go in there and you just grind and you level up and cast haste, spam your summons, and move on. I mean, It's weird. I think it is a huge departure from the formula that I know, but
I would have actually.
I knew going into it that it was going to be different. So
I would have actually liked to see Final Fantasy mode from the get-go. Now that I've played the whole game, because continuing on with the theme of the side quests, the thing about the side quests is that I think they were good the first time around, but like I'm going through Final Fantasy mode now, and I'm still doing side. I'm skipping all of the dialogue, but still have to do the side quests, and I'm just like, well, I don't want to do the side quests twice. That's my thing.
Yeah, I really wish they had I wish they had an auto skip button for like when your second playthrough if you don't want to see it, because I'm constantly skipping cutscenes when I do.
Not even an auto skip button. I just don't think that you should be forced to do side quests a second time.
Yeah, I think the New Game Plus was added on later. I think that was a request that they probably had. It shows because by default it takes into consideration your progress from the first playthrough. So, like, if you don't do the same side quest twice, then you're not going to get two of the same item, which then you can fuse together to make a more powerful version. It starts out assuming you are, like, a certain level, and it just wouldn't work if you just stripped it out and you'd have to adjust it. It definitely feels tacked on. But then again, I mean, like, I think the intention was pretty clear. They just want people to enjoy themselves and get to the end. I think maybe people want the option for a harder theme because, you know, if you are well versed in character action games, I can imagine, you know, it's fun, but it's definitely challenging.
It's very easy once you get to grips with the combat system. Like, I think I had one game over screen. It was because I was distracted, and then there could have been a couple more in some of the later things, but I just mashed potions and I'm like, nah, it's good. Let's go. I don't care. Because there are some monsters later in the game that will straight up take down your whole HP.
Oh, yeah.
But I think
I did enjoy in Final Fantasy mode, because I beat that as well, that there are a good amount of fights where I was out of potions and it was literally down to the, like, you hit me, I die, I hit you, you die. And I enjoyed that. That was kind of
I had that in one of the trials. We're not going to go into specifics, but I had that in one of the trials because I did all of the trials before finishing the last mission. But yeah, so I guess we can start a little bit by talking about the visuals as well. What'd you think about the visuals? Game is
gorgeous.
Yeah,
it's gorgeous. I mean, I'm playing on a 4K monitor. Yuna was playing on 4K TV. It looks gorgeous as hell. Like, I saw someone commenting like, "Oh, it's a Switch game, 720p. It's horrible."
Oh my god, dude!
I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, there's certain points where I just stop and my jaw drops. I'm like, damn, this game is pretty. Like when you're, like when you're near water and stuff like that, and there's just
when you see the vistas,
that you're just like, oh man, it's and I think there's such a good cohesiveness to the design of all the areas. Like, they do feel part of the same world, but they do feel different. However, I will agree with your comment in your review, which was I pump my brightness setting eternally to the max because the game is too dark. I don't think there's much use in trying to defend against that criticism. I think it's real because when scenes are lit up really bright, it's really pretty. Yeah. So they could have done with pumping it up a little bit.
I think that this is also a problem that they have in Final Fantasy XIV, where Final Fantasy XIV is a gorgeous game, but a lot of the time they'll have that stupid fog. And I'm just like, look, I get it. Weather effects, all of that. But that fog just makes the game look ugly. Like, I don't know what let me turn it off. Okay, you can have the fog.
It reminds me of Monster Hunter Iceborne. Do you remember, like, going into the coral reef, if you turned off the ambient inclusion, it looked like so much more lively and poppier?
I remember the
ambient inclusion, I think.
I remember something about that, and also in Hoarfrost Reach, I think there were also some zones that were kind of like foggy at times, and there's definitely a point that we've reached with visuals in games where it's like the developers can do so much to simulate real life, and we're like, yeah, but sometimes the visibility conditions in real life friggin' suck. And that's something that maybe a lot of us don't want in games. Like, I don't need foggy ass stuff in front of me all the time. I don't need it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, by necessity, a lot of missions, obviously, if you're in a warring type of area, that type of political battle,
it needs to be at night.
Like, you're going to be doing a lot of stuff at night through necessity, because it'd be kind of like unbelievable if you try to pull some of that stuff off during the day. But
it's like,
I think they could have lit a little bit more, but because when it's lit up, oh man.
There are ways, I feel like, to do it where you can have, just have like the moonlight shining through and illuminating things a little bit. And I feel like they could have done with some of that. Like there's actually an early mission, probably we're thinking about the same one, where you're going in and it's like so dark, even puts up like a fireball to act as a lantern. You're like,
and there's
that's
another
really cool, but I still can't see anything.
Put it up. Put it up. Like, come on, why you did it for that one scene, you didn't do it for this one. Put it up.
Yeah, just give us more fireball things. Instead of doing one, just light up the whole room. Okay, just like do 4 fireballs.
I do have to lodge a complaint against PlayStation here, because I hate Sony, but
of course.
I mean, I bought a second PS5 just to play this separately on my own save file, and I don't regret it at all.
Did your PlayStation 5 explode? Because everybody's complaining about their PlayStation 5s exploding.
No,
overheating.
Well, I'm sure if they sent pictures, it's stuffed in some entertainment cabinet, or they don't have the AC on. And
I saw one of those, and it was like, listen, the thing was about yay thick, and the PlayStation was just like stuck in there. And I'm like, you do understand the reason the PlayStation is open all over the place is specifically to circulate air, and you're putting this thing inside a shoebox. What do you expect? I'm surprised it hasn't happened sooner.
I will give the machine some props. I never heard it. Like the fans, I don't hear shit. Like it's quiet.
I have
like it runs cool.
Mine has what they call coil wind up or whatever, so it makes strange noises.
Weird.
I've looked it up online, and everybody said no, this is fine. This is just like some consoles come out like this because of.
Well, there's two things about the
whatever.
PS5 that I realize I hate during the course of playing this game. One is the game is so damn gorgeous. I want to take screenshots like I do on Switch games. You just hit a button and you just take tons of screenshots.
Yeah, you have to hit the button and then move over to the middle and then...
Yeah, you always are 2 seconds off, right? So you never get the shot you want. And the thing is after you take a shot, it puts that goddamn like check mark in the upper right. And then if you take another screenshot...
Oh, immediately after.
You get that in the screenshot. I'm like, why don't you just at a system level remove... Nobody ever wants that in the screenshot, you idiots. It's so dumb.
You do know the game has a photo mode, right?
Yeah, I'm talking about during cutscenes, so.
Oh, okay, during cutscenes, okay. Because I was like, dude, I took a lot of screenshots in photo mode to make sure that the character would look the way that I wanted and whatnot.
Yeah, but the photo mode, you know what? I do gotta say, I spoiled myself by looking at the photo mode in Horizon Zero Dawn, and now every photo mode in every game doesn't live up to. No. Because that game has.
You spoiled yourself with G-Pose. Don't lie.
No, I actually like Horizons more because you can mess with the time of day. You can do all sorts of stuff.
Oh.
You can't do that in FF.
You can't mess with like weather and stuff in FF? I don't know, because I'm not like a giga G-Pose guy.
No, well, probably with some tools, I'm sure, but not normally, no.
Yeah. I was I was playing around with like actually for the review thumbnail I was playing around, and I was just like torturing this goblin in the training area, and I was doing all kinds of weird. There was one point where I was considering one where, you know how he has that finishing animation where he just like kicks the enemy.
Yeah.
And it would just be like the kick animation, and then the goblin was just like flying away, and I was like, goblin free kick. Clive's favorite sport.
Move over, what's it called? Blitzball.
Yeah. No.
The other thing I hate about the PS5 though is, I don't know if you've had this problem, but if my machine is in sleep and then I try to turn it on with the controller, the monitor just won't register it at all. I have to swap the HDMI cables into one or two, redo them. And I found out apparently this is a huge issue. And apparently it has to do with HDCP implementation and auto resolution. So you have to go into the safe mode, manually turn it to HDCP 1.4, and change it so that the resolution is not automatic but hard set to the thing, and then all of a sudden it works perfect.
Okay, this is stupid. This is a very specific, because like, look, I have like 3 different monitors, well, 2 monitors and 1 TV that I use my PlayStation 5 with, and I'm constantly moving it around. I never have to do anything. And one of those is even hooked up through a capture card. So it's like it goes from capture card to No, actually, it goes from capture card to a different capture card of a different brand.
Well, that should be easier though, because
monitor.
the handshakes to a capture card is pretty easy. I think the monitors are looking at HD CMRP,
but it also goes
protocols.
I don't know. I've never had that.
It's weird. I hate it. But if you guys have the problem, like look it up on YouTube. There's a way to fix it. It could be
the HDMI SEC setting or whatever. There's a setting that connects the console to TV.
It might be. I mean, my monitor's HDMI 2.1, 2.2. It's enabled, so it's the latest one. It might be something to do with that.
But there's like, I know that there's a setting in the console that you can like have it sync up with your monitor or whatever, and that kind of like, fixes it in a way.
Yeah. But, also, I don't know if Sony changed it, but like one good thing I noticed though is if I unplug the PS5, like the power unit from it, and then I plug it back in, like it'll resume the game right where I'm at, like as if it was just saving the state. Did they change that to be more like Xbox, or
you turn off the console and it resumes?
I turn off the console, I take out the power plug in the back, I change the HDMI cables, I put back in the power, I press it, and it's right still, like I could pick right off in the middle of where I was in the game.
I was not aware of this because like I'm
like, did they change it?
I'm very specific about this. Like I will turn off the console, turn it on. I never like do that crazy stuff. But whenever I turn it off, it does not resume.
Yeah, because Xbox does that, and I love that about the Xbox. But the PS5 did it as well. I'm like, did they change something? That's kind of cool.
They might have, but yeah, I don't remember.
But usually enough PS5 shenanigans.
But back to the visual thing. So we talked about the gorgeous visuals. Did you play in quality or performance?
Quality, all the way.
Of course.
I don't think you gain. You lose more than you gain. Listen, I think if you go to performance.
We are not going to agree. I played performance and it's so good. Silky smooth 60 FPS whenever you are in combat. The biggest problem is that when you are outside of combat, they try to amp up because they're like, well, you're not in combat, so it doesn't really matter. And that to me is that thing of like hitting me with a brick, like coming right into a brick wall. Is like smooth 60, 40. And I was like, oh. And then you have the motion blur that's always on, and I'm turning the camera, and the motion blur is like, oh, please just make it go away. I don't want motion blur. I think that they're going to patch it or something later.
They said they will, yeah.
So eventually you'll be able to turn off motion blur. That'll be very good. But other than my complaints of like when I'm exploring, stuff can get kind of choppy, especially like in that last big area that you go to.
Oh yeah, there's
like
so
that
much
thing
stuff going on there.
Is huge, and like at that point you're pretty much running performance mode at 30 FPS, and I was like, oh, damn, that is harsh. So performance, I think, might need a little bit of adjustments there, a little bit more optimization. It kind of goes back
to the... like, I don't think you lose much if you go to quality. I don't know if you tried quality, but
listen.
Quality, the battle felt really good.
I cannot go back like 60 FPS in combat. Forget about it. I can't. I love the 6. It feels so good to just see it like boom, boom, parry, dodge, perfect dodge, berserker ring, doing all of these crazy things. And I'm like, no. I can't do that at 30 FPS. No, can't do it.
It's not 30 in quality mode. I don't know what you're talking about.
What is it in quality mode then? Is it not 60?
I think it's 60 or it's damn close. I think it might drop down to 50s on really heavy areas, but the game seems to deload a lot of the background during battles, and the battles are obviously prioritized in quality mode. It's incredibly obvious.
I got to test that out because I just played it.
I want you to test it out because I want to get your opinion, because I think, you definitely see a better frame rate, but like less visuals and performance when you're outside of battle. But inside battle, I don't really think you're gaining that much. It could just be me. I don't know. But I quite enjoyed how smooth the battles felt with quality mode.
It's just like the way that I was playing, I'm just like, no, I need everything pitch perfect, like every perfect dodge. Because here's the interesting thing, right? I suck at these games. I suck. I love what we now call then character action games. I love them. I suck at them. I'm terrible. And I felt like in this one, I was actually doing pretty good, which is surprising to me.
That's the thing. Like, I'm the same as you. Like, well, probably worse than you, because I'm not necessarily a fan of character action games at all.
No, I love them. Like I'll play a Bayonetta. I love playing Bayonetta. I love playing Devil May Cry. I mean, that's the reason why, I've I'm a fan of Platinum Games, right? That's why.
Yeah.
It's because of character
they're good
action
at
games
it.
like that, like Vanquish, stuff like that. I'm just like, bro,
I think Devil
love
May
this.
Cry 5 helped me, I think. Because
Devil
that's
May Cry
the
5?
first character action game I actually played to the end.
Yeah, it's very
and
good.
that one felt pretty simple, but even then I got overwhelmed a lot by some of the stuff.
So for instance, in that one, there's always a mechanic in a character action game that I can't interact with. And in Devil May Cry 5, it was the Nero trigger, the revving up the sword. Because you're expected to, like, between combos, mash R2. And I was like, bro, it's like, what are you talking about? I ain't doing this. Like, what?
Yeah, and I did not enjoy Dante's mode. I wasn't very good at Nero. I thought
I think that Dante I was okay
touching with the stuff,
but the clutching of the sword, like I'm like I suck at this. I'm terrible at it.
But what's his name? I loved. Who's our favorite?
V.
V, yeah.
Dude, V was the best, yeah. V was like...
But I think that game...
I kept getting triple S. With V, I kept getting triple S. Triple S. I was like, yeah, V's the man.
Yeah, I felt like it gave me a one-up, like a intro to the genre.
Yeah.
To the point that I felt comfortable. But then again,
I feel like
someone like my daughter, she's never played a character action game in her life. And she was able to pick this game up
16
very easy. I
mean,
I almost think that 16 is like the perfect introduction to character action because it's really intuitive and it feels really good.
It is.
However, did you ever get over the R1 being the evade?
Yeah,
or did you change it?
No, it was fine. I had no problems with it. The biggest issue that I had starting off was because I'm not used to going square triangle, cross triangle. I had like some really bad carpal tunnel. Like it would have hurt in some of the first battles. Like you go to my streams and I'd be going like, my wrist is killing me because I'm going. It's like, oh
my god!
But once I got used to it,
wait. The visual of you going while you're jerking off camera, that looked really bad. Oh. Someone's gonna clip that.
That's fine. It's gonna be Ark. Ark's gonna clip, but it'll be fine.
Ark, I summoned thee.
But the one mechanic that I did not engage with in 16 was the Torgal. Because like you can extend combos by sending out Torgal at the end of the combo, and you'll actually do like a flipping burning attack and whatnot, and you'll get to extend the combo.
I'm guilty as charged.
No, but it's like I was, and here's why I didn't do it though. So like I was trying to do it as much as I could early on, and what I realized is like about 50% of the time I would hit the D-pad, it would do right instead of up, and I was like, I pressed up, please. This is like, listen, this controller is like 2 or 3 months old, give or take.
Yeah,
How is this D-pad not working properly?
I think it's the controller, yeah.
It's so
I got drift in another PlayStation controller, so buying a new PlayStation was actually kind of nice because now I don't have drift again. Controllers are crap this gen, man.
But I'll give them props. They've implemented a dead zone, so I never get snapback with Clive because they have a dead zone, so that when you do this, it doesn't turn back. It's like, why can't every developer just have a little bit of a dead zone? Because these analog sticks, these generations suck ass. And it's not just on this controller either. It's on every single controller for every goddamn console. They suck ass. They're terrible.
Yeah. To maintain the balance in the universe, even though I hate giving Sony props, this is more of a props to Square Enix Dev Unit 3, but the HD Rumble as always is really good. Yeah, it's very good.
Creative Business Unit 3 is amazing at using HD Rumble, I feel like, because they know when to use it.
Yeah, it pops off during some of the big spectacle fights, but it doesn't do it in a way where it's just going bonkers the whole time.
It's not just Rumble. It's like it gives you textures, which is the same thing that it does in like. Because here's the thing: for people that don't play Final Fantasy 14, like imagine this: you have mounts in the game, right? So you mount on a bike, and it will do like a low rumble, like a brrr, and you just feel it on the controller. You mount on Rathalos, and instead of that, you feel the rumble in sync with the flapping of the wings.
The wings, yeah. And then
it's
when you
a very
fly
light
past, when you fly like just over the tip of a mountain where the wind would like gust in, you get vibrations for that. It is so good. And yes, you can use it on the PC version. So get yourself a Dualsense. It's so good.
If you get a Dualsense and you hook it up to PC and you
oh my god, you got like your mount walking on grass versus walking on metal, like you could feel the differences. It's like even when your character, the Switch was going to be.
Even when your character is like walking on a wooden surface versus something else, like you feel that. And then people are like, oh, that's got to be annoying. The controller's vibrating all the time. It's like, no, because it's very subtle. It's very subtle to the point where if you're not paying attention, you might barely even feel it, but it's there. And it's just like, so in 14, they do a fantastic implementation. In this one, they just like fly off the handle with it. And it's really good. Yeah. I think that they did fantastic there. We were supposed to be on visuals, but what about the animation?
So, well, I guess we're getting into performance already as well. So
I mean, we talked about performance.
Me personally, like if they patch and they come up with better ones, fine. But I'm so used to games not being perfect anyways when it comes to performance that like I'm not forgiving of it. Like, but listen, I am. If you know what I mean. Like if it doesn't. It never detracted from my experience. I never got to a point where I'm like, oh my God, this is molasses. What the hell?
Here's an interesting thing, because there was like a Digital Foundry video or whatever, and I've seen this again with the whole Discord on Twitter and whatnot, and people were saying like, oh, they say that sometimes the game drops frames, but yet Digital Foundry said it's one of the most polished games to come out this year. What hypocrisy. It's like, have you people played games this year? Like, let me tell you something. Wild Hearts, with the slow motion issues that it had, with all of the PC performance problems that it had, the game was barely functioning when it launched. Okay, and I'm someone who
How many hours did you put into this game?
Final Fantasy?
Yeah.
First playthrough was 70 hours. I don't know how many hours I've played since then.
How many bugs did you run into in your playthrough?
It never crashed. I don't remember
NPC characters popping off, textures not loading in, like an actual like traditional bug. Nothing.
No.
Same
nothing.
here.
Yeah.
Not one.
Yeah, there was the occasional frame drop. That's it. But the game, and here's the interesting thing, right? Because like I was just talking about Wild Hearts. I can keep on going and giving you more examples, like Jedi Survivor. Jedi Survivor ran like ass, and people, when Jedi Survivor came out, people were saying like, oh, it's a PC problem. It runs fine on consoles. And if you go to my Twitter, you'll see like the footage of me playing it on performance mode, hitting low teens in performance, okay? We're talking like 12, 15 frames per second in performance mode. And people are like, oh, this is fine. You're crazy. You are insane. This game is 100% one of the most polished launches we've seen this year. Like no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's just that simple. Does it have the occasional performance drop, particularly when you jump out of battle into exploration mode and whatnot? Yes, it does, but it doesn't like hinder the gameplay in any conceivable way, in my opinion. So with
and I don't know whether it might also be a thing that I'm playing on a monitor that supports VRR. I don't know whether or not this game I think PlayStation Now does, so maybe that helped smooth it out a little bit, but I definitely feel frame drops, of course. Like they're there.
It does. I don't know if 16 supports it though, so I don't know if it's using.
Yeah, I don't know. But it never took away from my enjoyment of it. It's not like. But then again, I'm not the type of player who it's like, oh, I walked in an area and I saw a little bit of a edge of a cliff load in a texture for half a second. Like it.
I haven't even noticed
that.
Me. But I haven't even noticed that. That's the thing. It doesn't bother me either. But I didn't notice it happening. And here's the thing: people can call me out on it. You can go. There's like, I don't know how, probably 60-something hours because I've played some of it by myself. But like, there's like 60-something hours of live streams in my channel that you can go check and be like, I see a pop-in over there. Good luck. Have fun. But like, that was not a problem. But I wanted to ask you about animations. How'd you feel about the animations?
I thought it was excellent. I played it with English voice. Yuna played it with Japanese, so she had to deal with the lips not matching with the facial animations.
Yeah, because they synced it to English this time around.
But the thing is, they didn't just sync it to English. It's very clear that they did performance capture for non-audible parts. It shows, and I think more games should do this. And I was watching interviews with the actor who did Clive because I was really curious if my instinct was right. And And he did say that, they'd call him in, and some of the characters for scenes where they never even had a line of dialogue. They're just like, I want you to react to what's going on, because they're capturing the emotions on the face and they're implementing those custom animations on the characters. So there was a lot of times where it's very obvious, like especially with Jill, you notice the amount of expression that she gets in the background sometimes when she's not talking, which I'm not trying to step on a Kotaku landmine here. I'm just saying. Like, there's a lot of information. We will. There's a lot of information conveyed in the facial expressions. Dion is another great example. Like, there's subtle nuances. Like,
Dion is such an amazing character. God damn, but we can't talk too much about him because spoilers.
Yeah. Like, I know that when you're talking to people, sometimes it's more of a generic loop animation, but for pretty much all the cutscenes, everyone had custom animations even when they were not speaking, which I loved.
Yeah.
There wasn't weird, like there wasn't grunt sounds all over, like, like they just reacted. And it was very clear that they did performance capture, so I was blown away. Like, I was like, wow, these characters... And they had some hit and misses on some of like the, like the Witcher kind of thing. Like when you talk to somebody, it goes into that generic sort of camera angle.
Yeah.
Like some games have it where like they're completely not looking at each other and I haven't
noticed
the
that.
eye
contact.
I can't even speak English.
Eye contact.
God damn it. Yeah, their line of sight is off. I didn't notice it that much in this game, which was impressive. It's still there, but like the uncanny valley is less present.
The one thing that I would say in regards to considering that we're talking about like cutscenes and whatnot is that you can definitely tell the budget difference between like a main mission cutscene and a side quest cut. You're like, whoa, what happened here? This is very different. Like it hits you like a ton of bricks straight up. Like, no, this is
it's
a different thing.
Yeah, the facial bone animation and just the slight little like body mannerisms in some of those cutscenes are so custom.
Yeah.
It's like really good. Like I know one of the more viral examples that's been going around Twitter is like a GIF of Clive holding the hand of Jill and
is it peanut
helping
butter?
her over.
Is it peanut butter?
That's exactly why it's called GIF. So you're admitting that it's right. It is GIF.
Yeah, sure. Exactly Jiffy or something like that peanut butter.
Hey, the creators said that's what
there's a but there's a GIF of what?
There's a GIF of Clive sort of like helping Jill over an object, and there's just little subtle things of like the lingering of hands, the turn of a shoulder, like little things that really make it feel alive. And I think that's credit probably to the animators, but mostly the actors. I think the performance captures.
I think that the performances were very good. I was also talking about animations in terms of like just overall combat animation, stuff like that. How'd you feel about it?
Oh, Lord. Like the feeling of when you do a precise evasion and then you go into slice back, like that whole sort of like bob and ebb of battle, like the whole feeling of those animations. The programmer who did not just, obviously the battle designers, sure, but the programmers who had to find ways to cheat the animation so that they all string together in a natural feeling way.
It's brutal.
Oh, God. It's so good.
It is brutal.
It's so good.
It's really...
Okay, I got to ask you this.
Go for
it. We actually preferred, even though I know it makes the game easier, we actually preferred having the ring on that gave us the little ring for evasion. We actually found that it was more enjoyable.
I don't know what you're talking about. Little ring for evasion?
The ring of evasion or timely evasion or whatever. It gives you like that little like circular window to quick press R1 to evade an attack. There's a ring that does that.
I didn't
accessory.
know that. Yeah.
Oh God, it's so good. For some reason we just found it more enjoyable. For the FF mode, I turned it all off and did it, but I gotta say I enjoy the circle.
What I hear from a lot of people is that they use the dog ring, and I was like, yep, I probably should have done that too, because goddamn that friggin' D-pad, bro, yeet me off a goddamn cliff. Jesus Christ. But
yeah, animation work in general is fantastic, and Yeah, there's nothing more. I mean,
And
and the spectacle hunts.
Yeah, and
not
the set
hunts,
pieces,
the big battles. Holy,
the icon battles are friggin'
God.
beast, dude. So
I mean,
good.
these are the best boss battles I think perhaps I've ever seen. Like they are.
I think it is hands down
way up there.
the biggest power fantasy that you get to have almost.
Hold on to your goddamn
game.
seat, popcorn sort of flying, hitting the wall. Like this is. You need a cigarette and you need to lay down afterwards. It feels kind of like that. You know what I mean?
We're gonna go into more detail when we go into the spoiler section, guys. So if you want to know more about that, stay tuned.
We'll just say the highs are like really high.
It's so friggin' good. It's very good. And then, well, to kind of like wrap up visuals, there is one complaint that I have besides the dark thing, and this one is kind of like very specific. So I'm going to be very, I'm going to be
dance
somewhat, I have to dance around it. But basically there's an event that happens, I think about 60 to 70% into the game, where they change the color of the skybox. And that bothered me because it makes the game look worse. Like I understand it's this big story event, this thing happened, and now the whole lighting of the game changes. And I'm just like, bro, now I have to play the rest of the game looking like this. And there's a ton of content in that part. Like just before the final mission, there's like 6 hours of content that I did, which I loved. But I'm just like, bro, I wish I could turn it off. Just let me turn off the thing that happened so that I can enjoy the rest of the game, and then I can turn it back on when we go to the end. Like that I felt was a little bit annoying. I don't know how you felt about that.
I saw you mention in your review. I actually didn't even.
You didn't even notice?
I noticed, but I guess
it didn't bother you.
It didn't.
Okay.
Nah, it didn't bother me.
It didn't bother me like too much, but like every time that you'd go and you'd see things in like a different hue than is natural, I'd be like, man, I wish this thing was turned off, like so that.
What bothered me only was, once you beat the game and you get like your clear file, like one thing that
it's still there,
spoilery and good to know, is that you're allowed to then go back to the moment before the final battle, and so that you can complete all your side quests. Like
I think that there's missable. Yeah, I think there are.
Yeah, but not like in the back half. Those are all there.
Yeah,
I wish they would have I wish for that they would have that. I think if we had a better skybox after you beat it, would have been kind of nice. So you feel like you're in like a post-clear type of environment. But,
I think that they could do
that
potentially. Like I don't know if they want to or not, but I think that they could do that in a future patch. Like I think that'd be an interesting.
It didn't bother me though so much.
Not that I spent any time at all in that. Like I think I went in there into the post-clear thing to go buy like one necklace that I hadn't bought, and I was like, okay, I didn't buy this one necklace. I want to make sure that I get it. Then I go to Final Fantasy mode, and then I can get it again and upgrade the necklace. So it's whatever.
There's one thing I did in Final Fantasy mode, and I'll move us into the next subject, which we could probably sum up with just one word, which is God, which is the sound, the music.
Yes.
What I did on FF mode is I went in there and I turned the voice and the sound effects way down, and I basically played it with just music on.
Interesting.
For the majority, for the entire FF run. And I heard songs and stuff that set the mood, and I just didn't realize it because it was so integrated. You can enjoy the music so much more on your second playthrough if you do that.
Interesting, because like I actually felt like the mix was very good because like I had this problem in Diablo 4. I talked about it where Diablo 4 actually has a pretty good soundtrack, but it's so in the background, and the mix that they have by default when you have everything maxed out is like...
Oh, the mix is good, yeah.
Yeah, but like on Diablo 4, it wasn't. Like the sound effects and everything would completely drown out the soundtrack. So I had to turn everything down to like 30% and max out the soundtrack to actually be able to hear it. But in 16, that was not the case. I was able to hear it. As a matter of fact, there were some cutscenes where the music was so loud I could barely hear the voices Yeah,
Oh, wow.
yeah. I don't know if it might be my headphones or whatever my setup.
Yeah, because I was not playing with headphones, so that might also be it as well.
Oh, okay. Because like I play the whole thing with headphones, and I was like, wow, there were moments where you couldn't even hear the voices properly because the music was just blasting. That's one of the things that I love about Soken is that he's not scared of bringing the soundtrack to the forefront. Whereas nowadays in video games. And nowadays in video games, people are scared to do that. I don't understand why. Like, if you have a good soundtrack, bring it to the front. Just bring it to the front. And they do that a lot in this game, and I absolutely loved it.
I mean,
Really
him and Uematsu are like pros at creating melodies, and they're confident with the melodies that they're able to do that. If you just have some ambient, like atmospherical music, like bringing it to the front's not going to do the game any favors.
Yeah.
So I think that's what it is. But the music is so good. I can't wait for the soundtrack. The 300 songs that he made, and it took him a month to master the soundtrack, and it's going to be 7 CDs.
No, man, it's just friggin' absolutely gorgeous. The soundtrack of the game. The sound effects themselves are also friggin' fantastic. From the parry hits.
Oh yeah, great Foley artists on like the ice and stuff. Ooh.
Yeah. It's very, very good. Like even just throwing the judgment bolts from Ramu, I freaking love it. It's beautiful, dude. I freaking adore that stuff. And then on top of it, you have the voice acting, the performance of the actors, which I have no complaints with. Even like the side quest NPCs, there's no like, oh, hi, can you go get there's nothing like that. All of the performances are good.
I would pay so much money to have Sid in character on every device I own. Oh my God. I love that man's voice. I love his performance. I love the writing.
You know that he also has
so good.
He also has a major role in Diablo 4, the same guy.
Really?
Yeah, he plays a character in Diablo 4 called Lorath, who is I think he's the last Horadrim, but basically he also kind of does the narration for the game because that dude's just got like the beastliest voice. Like I want that voice. Can I have that voice? I'd be like from the voice picker in my character creation in real life, and I'd be like, okay, can I buy the DLC for the actor that the Sid's
And it's
voice?
not just his voice. He is such a good actor.
Yes,
like he nails it. Like he has so many lines that are so specific and contextual that if he didn't do the inflections just right, it would come off like cliche or weird, and he nails it every time. Like not a weird read in the entire game. Like he is phenomenal.
It's
the Japanese voice acting I heard on my left ear because that's what is playing in, and it's standard. It's great. But the English voices, and I'm looking at the characters because I was like kind of curious who did some of the voices, and it seems like almost all of them. This I found interesting. Were like they're actors, right? Because they were doing performance capture and everything.
Yeah.
So less than being voice actors, I think the majority are actors and actresses. And I think it used to be like a dirty word, right? Like back in like the 90s, like they tried to get like famous Hollywood actors to do voice work, but because they were forcing them to do it in the voice acting method, it turned out horrible. And so like having a big name actor as your voice actor really wasn't a good thing as we got into the 2000s.
I mean, an example,
this is the opposite because they let them act.
And an example of that was what's his name? I forget. Yeah, Peter Dinklage in Destiny.
Yeah. So I mean, like, if you let them do performance capture, then I think actors are really getting. I think voice actors can do it just as well, of course, but I think it played in their favor, and I was just like, damn.
100%.
And then like letting Clive have his like snotty cries and dirty face cries, like just letting them be real. Yep. You can tell that there wasn't this obsession with like, no, we've got to make this like crisp audio. No, they just let them go at it, and it's hilarious. I love it.
The voice quality was so good that there's like this very specific character. I forget his name, but like there was this one character that he must have done it remotely, and I could instantly tell because I was like, this guy's microphone is not as good as everybody else. There's something going on here. This guy's microphone is not that good. But yeah.
So without any spoilers, there's a bunch of and this is the Monster Hunter fan of me, I was really happy that there was a hub town in the game, so to say, with it, like a place you can come back to in between story missions and side quests and stuff. And there's a huge cast of really personable characters.
Yes.
We could probably go on and talk about all of them, but who, if you had to choose, let's say two,
Tarja.
Who are some people that stood out for you?
Tarja.
Tarja, yeah, because she's Manale, right?
No, it's like
she gonna fix you up.
It's I no, but I really
you just
did
want to
like
be in her room for healing, huh?
Yes, yes. I really did like Tarja as a character, though. Like, I think she has like the side quest that she has, and then eventually you can have like almost the date side quest. It's not really a date, but it's almost like that. And
in your head, maybe.
Sure, but my actual favorite character is Uncle Byron.
Oh, okay. I knew you were gonna love him.
Dude,
I was either that or Gav. I thought you were gonna choose.
Gav is amazing too. Don't get me wrong. There's actually. Listen, we actually made a meme where I don't remember what scene it was, but there was one scene where Gav did something, and I was like, "Okay, everybody in chat, thanks, Gav." And everybody's like, so every time Gav would show up, people go like, "Thanks, Gav."
Yeah, so I'm kind of curious about your thoughts on this, but one of the feelings I got was, and I realize I haven't answered who some of my favorite characters are, but it kind of felt like the Seven Samurai in a way, because I don't know if there's 7 of them, but there's like 7 or 8 or whatever, like main NPCs in the game that revolve around you, and they're all masters of what they do, and they're all doing their own thing. Like, they're not just constantly just waiting on you alone. Like, they've got their own struggles and their own things, and I feel like all of them got a little slice of their time, so to say, for their
and
big moments.
Here's an interesting thing that I think a lot of people are going to miss out on. If you're the type of person that only goes and reaches out to an NPC if there's like a quest marker on top of his head or whatever, you're going to be missing out on a lot of conversations, because, like, for instance, near the end, after you've done like all of the side quests and all of this, you can go and you can talk to some of these characters, and they'll have like a proper, almost like a main mission cutscene level interaction where you'll actually have a conversation with them and they'll have stuff to tell you, which is something that I kind of kept doing over the game, because my chat when I was playing Final Fantasy XIV trained me to do that. They were like, no, listen, don't just press the MSQ button. Talk to the characters, talk to them, and then you talk to them and you learn more.
To the world around them.
Yeah, so there's a lot of that. So I'd actually recommend, if you're someone who's done all of the side quests with all of this, before you go to the last mission, or if you've already gone, like you have like the clear save or whatever, go to that save file and just go talk with the characters. You might be surprised with the stuff that they'll tell you. It's really...
Yeah, it's really interesting. But I gotta say, like, a lot of the characters, they're written so finely across the line, where they're not quite cliche, but they embody something that's really hilarious. Like the uncle.
He's a dwarf. He's a dwarf. He's amazing.
To me, he's like a combination of a fantasy world dwarf and like John Candy. Like, he's... I
don't know who that is.
Like plane, trains, automobiles, like big guy,
median. Dude, I'm not American. Remember this. Like, okay, I'm exposed to a lot of American culture, but I'm not American.
Okay, he a lovable guy. But Karen, she ended up really liking.
Who?
The old lady.
Oh, Karen. Yeah.
The
when you said Karen, I read it K-A. I was like, Karen, like, I want to see the manager, Karen.
Karen. Oh, God. I want to see that. Not that type of Karen. Oh my God, no.
Yeah, no. Karen is an amazing character. Yeah, I love it. So, which ones are your favorites then, of the supporting cast?
Oh,
wait,
man.
There might be some that are spoilers, so be careful.
Yeah. I'm not gonna mention them.
Okay.
Like, there's one I want to mention, but I won't. But I would say, of public information, Karen and I mean, obviously, Sid level is the top.
Sid's amazing. Like, yeah, Sid is awesome.
He is SSSSSS tier. You can't touch him.
Sid is awesome. Yeah.
I'll consider Clive and Jill their own special category. But probably Gav. I like Gav a lot.
Yeah, Gav is a good answer. Gav is friggin' amazing. I love Gav. Everybody go down in the comment section, type thanks Gav. Because Gav is awesome.
But yeah, it's a good way. I like it. I think the game design was super user friendly to the point where it probably is a little disappointing for some people. Like it's a really easy to digest game. Like it's not complicated. The story makes total sense.
That's the thing.
The characters have their big site. Do your how many quests and you get the big finale. Like it's really easy to do. Maybe it's oversimplified.
See that's an interesting thing, and there's like two aspects of this. There's the combat aspect and that I want to get into, and there's the side quest. So a couple of more things on side quests. A very important thing to me is like in a lot of these games, like say for instance, you look at at an Assassin's Creed game or something like that, a modern Assassin's Creed game like Valhalla.
Yeah.
You look at one of those games and it's very easy for you to just look at it and be, oh, there's a million. So I'm trying to stop myself from saying like, because I've noticed I'm putting like after everything and it pisses me off. I hate that.
You're getting ready for the Barbie movie, right?
No, dude, but it just bothers me because I feel like, see.
You're turning American.
God damn it! It's because I listen to so many American stuff, and everybody's doing it, and it just gets integrated into my vocabulary, and I friggin' hate it because I've learned my English through osmosis. It's osmosis that it's called, right? When you're
I have
learning.
No idea. I'm an American. I don't know big words.
Yeah, but I believe I learned things, and now this whole thing about the likes is getting absorbed into me, and I friggin' hate it. I have to actively
now someone in the comments
stop
gonna
myself.
have a counter now.
Yes, like counter for Rurikhan.
Like
it's so that you guys hit the like button. That it's all conditioning. See. But as I was saying, like when it comes to the side quests,
you just said it again.
When it comes to the side quests, my thing is that it's very easy for you to get lost in a lot of these games because there's just so many of them. You're just, oh my God, there's a zillion side quests. And usually when that happens to me, I'm just like, I turn off and I just end up, I'm not going to do any of them then. If there's 300 side quests, I'm not doing any of them. That's ridiculous. This game does not have that many of them, which makes them achievable in a reasonable time frame. And that is the reason why whenever they would pop up, I would instantly go, I want to go do them. I want to go do them. I want to make sure that I don't miss a single one.
And they also
because there's not that many.
A real narrow focus on the cast members that would give you quests. It wasn't just like every goddamn baker in every other town has a quest for you. It's like, no, these... For the most part, it's a curated list of NPCs that you're going to be interacting with,
and
which I liked.
And some of the quests, even though the cutscene budget for their interactions and all of that stuff, even though you can tell that budget is smaller than the budget for the main cutscenes, of course, which is to be expected and reasonable, I still feel that a lot of those cutscenes, in terms of what they give you from a story perspective, have main mission level quality in terms of the information that is conveyed to you. The quests that you do somewhat early on, where you have the ones that really explain the plot of the bears, with the child that has like a pet bearer, or the kid with the dog. Like those quests, just like, whoa, what the hell, dude? It's impressive. And there's quite a few of those quests in the side quest. So I like the fact that they were achievable, but I also have a problem with a very specific moment in the game where because of the fact that there's missable side quests, so you want to make sure that you don't miss out on them. So when they trigger, you go and you do them. And so there is one moment where you see a cutscene for the main mission and somebody goes like, our friends, they're under attack. We need to go get them right now. We need to go help them right now. They're being attacked. They're hiding. We got to go save them. And then they unlock
15 side quests.
They unlock like 6 or 7 side quests. And but the sense of urgency, what do you mean? And you're going through these side quests and doing them, and your character just feels like he's chilling, helping out all of his other friends. I'm like, but what about the friends that are in danger, like right now? We need to go help them this instant. And yeah, that was a frustrating moment. And it's not about the quantity of side quests. It's just about that sense of urgency. It kind of takes you out of the game. It breaks immersion. Because, for instance...
horrible. That stuff didn't bother me at all. I was so focused. When I see little side quests pop up, it's like a kid in a candy store. I'm like, my damn friends, they're in trouble? Nah, I can wait. They got plot armor for now.
Yeah, they do have plot armor. But this wasn't the one before the very last mission, because before the last mission, they give you like tons of them. But that didn't bother me as much because it feels like you're at a regrouping moment. And I'm, okay, this makes sense because, you know, everybody's regrouping, everybody's helping me for this final push. So it makes sense that I'm out there helping everybody else get ready to deal with the consequences of what is coming. That's the way that I felt about it.
Yeah. The reason why I like the side quests also, and this is a point I wanted to put in before we get into any type of spoiler stuff, but is the way they wrote Clive. Like, the marketing would lead you to believe that he's just like some edgy badass, right?
Yep. I mean, I haven't seen a lot of the marketing, but I would imagine, taking into context the things I've experienced in the game, I would imagine it'd be very easy for them to just pitch him as a badass.
He's just a goddamn teddy bear. I mean, he's...
Yep.
I would almost say that he would sit at the table in high school with the dorks. Like, he's just... he's playing D&D with us after school. Like, he's that guy. Yeah. Like, he's the jock.
He's the jock. But he is the jock that hangs out with the nerds. Yeah.
Yeah, he's the nerd jock. And he's a little teddy bear. And one of the things that always bugs me about games, and movies in particular, is characters. The main character has this weird tendency to just, like, take stuff and walk away without saying anything or wrapping up conversations nicely.
Yeah.
Like, oh, thank you so much, sir. Please take this. And you grab it, and that's the end of the quest. And it's like, I'm sorry? Like, you didn't say thank you or nothing or anything? But, like, he wraps up every conversation really nicely. Like, he says thank you a lot. He apologizes. He cares about the people he's talking to. And that feels so good to me.
That was a character evolution, though, because he's not like that at the beginning of the game.
Yeah, whatever. But I mean, like, for the majority,
yeah. But like that's character evolution, because at the beginning,
it's like
of the
when
game,
people get a phone call,
from
their wife, and she's like, "I'll see you later for dinner," and you just hang up the phone. You're like, "Why didn't he say goodbye to his wife?" It's like you don't get those problems in this game. Like, they wrap up conversations in a very natural, beautiful way. I really like that. I'm like, they just did so much for you. Say thank you, and he's like, "Hey, thank you so much, man."
Yeah,
he's appreciate like, hey, don't worry. I'm like, God damn, he's putting the words in my head. He's saying them. He's being a nice dude. He's helping people.
But
I like that.
When it comes to the whole simplicity thing, like I told you, there's two aspects. There's a side quest aspect, and then there's the combat aspect that I want to bring up, because a lot of people, you know, they were very quick to criticize the combat. There was that whole video of the idiot dude with
press XXX and YYY, and you'll
just like spamming square and whatnot with all of the assists in easy mode and being like, oh, game's so hard. And it's like, well, yeah, but the thing about the combat, because a lot of people, for starters, also said, oh, it's a button masher. No. Do you think that it's a button masher?
It can be if you want it to be. I mean, I think that's the beautiful...
If you play it in
the system
easy
is like
mode.
You can tweak it to be easier. You could over level. You could spam stuff, and if you have really good, you know, and probably get through it. But is that fun? But the thing is, they encourage you all the ways. It's like Minecraft or Legos. Like they give you all these fun skills to chain together that I think you decide how much fun you want to have. Yeah. The bigger boss battles and stuff, definitely you can't just, well, maybe, I don't know, like maybe you can, depending on what you have on, you can mash through it, but like, the same could be said for any turn-based game as well, right? Like, you're just pressing circle over and over and just, attacking, attack, summon, leave. But like, it's not a button masher game. Like, a lot of the stuff is intentional and feels intentional. And I also, it depends on what you have on. Like I said, we put on the Ring of Evasion, which makes the game probably infinitely easier. But we just found that the flow of it felt really good, and we enjoyed it more. Does that mean it's a button masher? I don't know.
But see, fun. That's the thing. That is definitely not a button masher, because even if you turn on the thing, that warning, you still have to press the button at a certain time. And I'm mashing it. I probably mashed the evade button more than you because I didn't have that.
Well, what's really fun, and I don't think you realized this because I watched your review, but if you have that Ring of Evasion on, it works with counters as well. So if you see the little ring, you can do a counter instead of an evasion. Yeah. And it's quite fun mixing that up and, seeing how much stagger damage you can get. And
the stagger damage thing is something that I only started doing near the end. And it's because I would completely ignore staggers early on. Like, I would burn my abilities in the most efficient way to deal as much damage as possible throughout the whole fight. And then everybody was always talking about, like, oh my God, he hit like 50,000 damage in the stagger. And I was like, so that's the thing? You guys just want to see big numbers? At one point, I went over 200K without using the most broken stuff in the game. I was like, yeah, 200K staggers. Yeah, sure. Then I started doing the opposite, which is I started optimizing for the stagger, and it got really friggin' sick. And we'll talk more about that in the spoiler portion.
The spoiler section,
but like, the one thing that I would say about the combat is that it is simple enough that you can kind of tweak it to your liking. But the interesting thing is a lot of people tried to boil it down to just, you just use the cooldowns. You just mash cooldowns, that's it. Just look at your abilities, use the cooldowns. That is the combat. And the thing is, that is not the combat, because there's a lot of other things that you can do to link up combos and aerial juggles and all of these crazy things that you can do with the systems, and using Torgal to link between combos and all of that, which is like, yeah, you can just do cooldowns, or you can do some really cool stuff, because the purpose of a character action game is not to determine whether or not you can kill something. And I feel like this is a disconnect. The disconnect that people have is that they think that, this is about, let's see how fast I can kill this thing, or how can I kill this thing most efficiently. But the reality is, it's about how can I kill this thing as stylishly as possible. And that's why you have score and stuff like that in Bayonetta and Devil May Cry. And I like the fact that they didn't put score on this for the story mode. You have like a separate mode for it. So I actually prefer it like that, because I suck at scoring these games to begin with.
It never feels good when you feel that you did really good, but it says A and not S, right?
So I think they did this. A is not even that bad. The bad part is when you feel like you did really good and the game's like C. And it's like, what?
Try harder.
Why would you do this to me? So I think that the combat can be as complicated as you want it to be. And that is going to vary from
Fight Club thing. You decide your level of involvement. If you want to put on they did a really good job of balancing the different icons. And
no, they didn't.
I think. Well, okay. We'll save this for the spoiler section.
We'll save that for the spoiler. But I'll tell you right now. No, they didn't. What are you talking about? I'll just say this. The longsword rears its ugly head again in a Japanese game.
Yeah, but that's not fun. At least for me.
It wasn't fun for me either. I'm not using it, but yeah, you guys will understand. Will understand when you get there. But I think
I think one of the problems that might be occurring is that the skills are so distinct and unique that there is definitely a tendency probably for people to fall into the same set of skills that they use. And maybe that's contributing to like this feeling of button mashing, because they're not changing up what they're doing. Changing up can be really fun.
Yeah,
and I do think the game could have introduced or even laid on harder. I thought Final Fantasy mode would do it, but they didn't. This isn't really a spoiler, but I mean, like, there's, like having a mob and then having two goddamn sorcerers in the back casting cure. And like Cure is such an OP skill in this game that like if you don't take care of them,
you're gonna be doing the battle
over and over again.
In normal mode, I feel like you can power through it, but like in Final Fantasy mode, you got to take out the healers because otherwise.
Someone casting Protect makes you think, okay, I got to use elemental damage to break down the barrier. I think they could have leaned into that much harder.
Charged attacks.
But do you agree? I think they could have added more statuses, sleep, just more punishing stuff. They could have played with that more, I think. At least in Final Fantasy mode.
Potentially, and
that would definitely help with carrying, like, okay, I definitely need to bring spells that do stagger against multiple enemies. Or, no, I don't want AoEs. I want single ones and stuff like that. But
I'm probably going to do a video on
like you said, character action game, you're just doing it for fun. So, I mean, like, have fun.
But it's, the thing about it is that I feel like there was also something that I saw on Twitter somewhere where someone was complaining about, oh, this game has almost no diversity of combat. I find myself using the same 3 abilities over and over again, even though I've unlocked all of these other things, and I'm just, why don't you try the new thing? Like, what are you doing?
Well, that's the one person who only plays Gunlance and doesn't try any other weapons.
Hey!
I'm joking.
It's prohibitive. Here's the interesting thing that you say that. It's because the reason why I only play Gunlance at this point in the game, and I'm telling you right now, I'm not switching off of Gunlance and Sunbreak for the rest of the time that I play Sunbreak. It's specifically because it's super prohibitively expensive. Like, I actually tried making a Sword and Shield set yesterday, and I'm not joking, because I had been playing without using armor stones for, I don't know, probably 20, 30 hours, give or take, without using a single armor stone, constantly doing hunts, doing all of this stuff. And in trying to do one set, which I wasn't even able to upgrade all the way, I think sets go up to like level 29 or something right now, something like that. I leveled it up to level 20, burned all of my spheres and all of my money. Okay, that's what it took. What did you sacrifice for your Sword and Shield set? Everything. And guess what? I was trying out a different set of skills that are not very normal, and it didn't work. And it was a waste of everything.
Yeah.
And now I'm just sitting. I made a bonfire with all of my materials.
Gone.
It's gone.
Never again.
But yeah, I think that when it comes to the combat, each person, the important thing is, I feel you should experiment when you receive a new icon. It might be that you don't like it. Like, I got one of the icons that I unlocked, I tested out, and I don't like any of these abilities. I'm not using any of them. Just like, that's it.
There's probably half of them I don't touch, but I've tried them.
Yeah, exactly. That's the important thing. You should at least try them to get a feel for the skills and see how they can play together with other skills and the other icons, because that's the whole point of the mastery system. For those of you that don't know, you can master skills from one icon and then equip them onto another, so you could have like Ifrit using Garuda skills. I'm just saying these two.
I think it was pretty obvious though that like the battle is just supposed to feel good and be fun, and I think, it's a fantasy game. You're playing the fantasy of, and it's about the story and the spectacle, and that department, this game nailed it home. Like,
absolutely.
I loved it.
I think it's time for us to jump into the spoiler section at this point.
Like, so biting my tongue is getting hard.
If you do not want to get spoiled, this is your time to check out. Remember to hit the like button, subscribe, bell notification icon, all of that jazz.
And if you're not sure if the game is good for you, try the demo. If you have a
try
PS5,
the demo.
I know some people are stuck in a weird spot because they don't have a PS5 and they want to try it, and I don't have much advice because that's a tough one. But
I've had a lot of people.
If you have a PS5.
I've had a lot of people ask me, like, is it worth it to buy a PS5? And as someone who had one point bought an Xbox One to play Scalebound.
Yeah, I also buy systems for one game.
Let me tell you, I'm not sure if you should buy a console for one single video game, because in my case, it never even came out. Scalebound never came out.
I bought a 360 just for Lost Odyssey, and it was worth it. It was so good.
Yeah, I don't know. What I can tell you is that if you do own a PS5, the game's absolutely a million times
get the demo and do the second part that you didn't do.
Yep.
And you'll get a good idea about what the game's all about. I think it's a great representation. So if you don't jive with the full demo, then maybe it's not for you.
Yeah, it's probably not for you. So again, we're going in the spoiler section. 3, 2, 1. You are now about to get absolutely spoiled out of your mind. So let's get into it. First things first, which one was your favorite icon battle?
I am mixed between two of them because having played the game through twice now, I can't decide.
Let me try to guess.
You're gonna guess it because it's everybody's.
Titan and Bahamut.
There's no way that. Exactly. Of course.
Titan and Bahamut are the best ones, hands down.
Like I can't compare them because they're great in different ways.
Titan comes out on top for me.
Yeah, I think Titan might be my favorite as well.
Titan is so good, dude.
It's really nice, and oh my god,
just like
I love that the battles are like 30 minutes long. They're like huge spectacles.
They're actually not that long. They're actually about 10 minutes, but they feel longer. Because I know because I've done the chapters on all of the playthrough episodes. All of them are like chaptered so that people can just go, I want to see him fight Titan. You can go to the stream and see that.
They are so good.
And they're about like between 10 and 20 minutes, depending. I think Bahamut's probably closer to like 20 minutes, something like that. Yeah. But yeah, those two are absolutely phenomenal, dude. When I'm fighting Titan and I get like the parry ability and I'm busting everything. It's just so good.
It's like, how many genres are they trying to? It's like every other scene is something unique. It's just like, damn.
Yes, to me, Titan just takes the cake because of the scale of the fight. You start the fight, you're running, he's throwing stuff at you. It just feels good. And then Bahamut is a very close second because Phoenix is my favorite mythological creature, which makes Phoenix like my favorite summon in Final Fantasy, any Final Fantasy pretty much.
Yeah.
And it's just, when you're flying around as the Phoenix and then it's Ifrit and Lord. Phoenix. And that's the other thing. My favorite element is fire. So it's like, it's the Phoenix and it's fire and it's Ifrit and it's, oh God, it's so good. I love it. I thought it was awesome.
Yeah, that whole fight was crazy. And then the subsequent cutscenes after that are so good. And like Dion is such a good character.
Dude, Dion is amazing. Dion is an amazing character. I adore the way that they've presented him. And they made him a gay character with the romance thing. And
yeah.
The interesting thing was that the first reaction that I saw in my chat to that was people saying, and they said the game's not diverse enough. And I'm like, who cares about that conversation? These cutscenes are so good.
Yeah.
I don't care. It's just freaking awesome. But then you have the article from Kotaku where it's like, the gay romance is bad.
And that's like, okay, there's an article.
They literally didn't release the game in the Middle East to stick with this cutscene that they could have easily cut if they wanted to. And I don't think they should because it's a friggin' it's just an amazing character all around the way that they portray him.
Yeah, I like how the game doesn't there's some like sexually what's the right word? Inferred situations, but they don't go out of their way how like Last of Us wants to show you violence, so they just show you everything.
Yeah.
Like the game keeps it it's very reserved, and it makes
when
it
it comes to the sex
more
stuff, yeah,
emotional.
It's very reserved, yeah.
Like
sure.
You don't see like Clive making out with Jill. Like they kiss, but it's not like riding on and humping each other. Like it's right for the
It's
moment.
not Mass Effect.
Yeah. So I thought okay, yeah, even with the camera pulling out, it still was right there on display. And then there was a really beautiful scene with him and having to send him away off at the end to
and the reasoning why he sent him away,
and it just killed him, and it was a very emotionally charged scene. I liked it a lot.
It's very well done because I feel like one of the main reasons he sent him away is because he didn't want him to get hurt. He's like, I want you safe. Go take care of this child. Get away. Because he knew that shit was going to hit the fan, basically. I think that's really cool. But yeah, Dion, amazing character. Byron, amazing character. I just enjoyed the whole thing. I guess we should start with talking about story, considering that we're getting into spoiler stuff.
Any spoilers? Yeah. I mean, I think it's standard fare for most FF games to start out with assembling the team, dealing with the nations, and going on a journey. You know, it's got like the second and third act, and then, you know, something from outer space or interdimension comes in and gets a little wonky at the end. I mean, that's standard Final Fantasy. Like, that's always been the way.
I think that overall the plot was very understandable. Like, you don't need ATL to really understand the story.
Yeah.
Even though ATL is really interesting.
Oh,
so, for instance,
I love it.
Did you know that Elwyn and Annabella are cousins?
Who?
Clive's father and mother.
Wouldn't surprise me.
I'm like, when I read that in the ATL, I'm like, sweet home. I'm sorry, I had to do it. No, but that was funny. Like, you do get a lot of additional information through ATL, but it's not necessary for you to understand the main plot. And I think it's good to have a system like that, because that was always something that I had in 14 where I'd be like, guys, I don't remember who this character is, and people in chat would tell me. It's kind of like the same thing, except now I can pause in a cutscene and read it and understand it. Yeah, and it gets expanded upon as you play through. So that's all.
In single player games, man, like the ability to pause is so nice.
Yes.
Very like the door rings, something happens. Like, it doesn't ruin the game.
Just pause real quick. It's all good. But
pause and leave it for later.
So with the story, the way that it was going, initially I was wondering if Clive was Ifrit or not. They make you kind of like question it very early on. Because the first time I played the demo, the thought never even crossed my mind. Which it almost makes it a good thing for people to play the demo, because when you play it the second time around, because I played it the second time around, and I was like, wait, he is Ifrit. And then you see the Wander, and you're like, wait, he's not Ifrit. Wait, he is Ifrit. It's just like you keep going back and forth whether or not he's Ifrit. And I thought that was interesting. How'd you feel about that?
I thought it was interesting, and I think on second playthrough, there's a few things that I have got my own little theories now, because I like how they don't explicitly tell you everything. They tell you a lot, but there are little small details that are left unanswered, and I think the whole idea is that they wanted him to eventually fight and absorb all the different icons, right? Like, that was the whole goal of Ultima.
Yeah.
It's like, I need you to get on a mission to break all this stuff. So making him think that it was his fault for killing his brother and sparking the Ifrit inside of him, I think that was Ultima. Like triggering it in him on purpose and doing it in a way that made him feel like he had to go off and kill something, just to get him on that revenge arc, so to say.
Yeah.
The same idea of like Benedicta's head being cut off and sent in a box. Sid wouldn't do that. I mean, they were lovers, for God's sake. Like, he loved the woman. So that, I think, was also like Ultima setting up, because he needed him to fight Titan. So
yeah, it was weird the way that played out, because I'm like, yeah, Sid wouldn't do this. Like, what the hell is going on? This is some weird shit. But
they never resolved it, but I think it's pretty
obvious.
Left
wondering who did this, and it's probably Ultima who does it, which is
Then he manipulates to get Dion to go insane, you know, and Prime. I
was wondering why Dion was butchering his own people with all of the passion.
And then you see the scene, you're like, oh, that would have fucked me up. Yeah, that would have destroyed me.
That makes perfect sense. How he just like completely.
The man was trying to
manipulated
protect his
Dion.
father, and just like, I'm like, oh my god, I'd lose my shit. Then you got that smug ass wife, like, then you get the kids standing up, being like, "Do you think, idiot?"
That whole cutscene with Annabella, before and after the Bahamut scene, I was like, kill her. Please, someone, please fucking end her. Please, for the love of all that is whole. And then it's like, wait a minute. So we went into outer space and we have to land next to this bitch again? Like, off her, please, somebody. Then she kills herself. And I was like, I wish you'd gone harder. Like, somebody ought to killed you harder, made you suffer or something like that. But yeah, that was but that just shows you the amount of emotion that they were able to convey through the game, that I was just like, kill her now, end her. I don't want to see her face.
She was quite disgusting.
But see, that's the hallmark of a very good actress. She did a perfect job playing that character.
She was like
good actress and good writing.
Like Joffrey in Game of Thrones, right? Everyone hated him. It's just because he acted good.
I feel like the dog quest with the whole bear thing in Northreach, where they would send out bears to get killed by the dog. You remember that? I feel like that kid was the Jeffrey reference. Straight up, he just sounds like him, and the annoying little shit. It's like, oh, I murder this kid. God damn it.
Yeah, but I like what they did with the story overall. Like the whole idea of, you've got a people. Some of them, are born with ability to do like magic. You would think that they would be the elites in society, but it's like, no. If all of society gangs up and decides to kick them around like asses and say, you do our bidding,
they're rare,
disgusting. Yeah, it's like, that's kind of a new twist. I don't know of games in which the gifted are considered shit, and kicked around and forced to do stuff.
I think, I don't know if they have special powers, but like in Witcher, it's the dwarves and the elves. They're looked upon as, scum, basically, and people kick them around. I don't remember if elves have special powers or anything like that, but yeah. In The Witcher, they also kick around some of these fable creatures almost. They're treated as absolute scum.
Yeah.
But
I mean, this is a sensitive topic, but I know that there was a lot of talk about, the lack of diversity in the cast, especially when it comes to people of color. I'm thinking, I almost wonder if that was a good choice, because I don't think that they would have the right sensibilities to do it right, and I think the optics would be horrible. Considering the history of our mankind of taking those characters and putting them into a slavery-induced thing would be really weird.
I don't have any questions as to whether or not the team would have the sensibility to do it. I'm pretty sure they would. The problem
is there a way, though, to even do it?
The problem is the backlash. They were always going to get backlash. There's no way that you portray a person of color in a game with this theme and you don't get backlash. There's no way. There's just straight up no way. Because like,
you're pressing buttons.
What are you gonna do? You're going to put them as bearers? Imagine a black bearer and just having like a white character absolutely abusing him the way that they abuse the bearers in this game. Like, just imagine that. You're like, oh, look at this. A portrayal of slavery in the video game. Look at the white masters against the black slaves all over again. And if you do it the other way around, people would say, oh, it's a mockery. And now the black people are enslaving the white. There's no way to win. There's no way to portray this story. I feel like
it's a nasty subject. And I just, unfortunately, humankind has a very bad history with what they've done. So, I mean, I'm not going to say it was the right choice, because I don't know how deliberate it was, but I think, of all the different outcomes, I think maybe the way they did it was
pretty deliberate. Like, I know that Yoshi P said, "Oh, it's because it's a European setting and whatnot." And
that was a bad answer. And
I'm thinking, I don't think that's why you're doing it. I think you're doing it because this game deals with themes of slavery, and the backlash is going to be absolutely insane.
It's not there's a backlash though. I think they would feel uncomfortable writing a story like that.
That might be the case as well. But it is
what it is, I guess.
It is what it is, yeah. But in terms of going back to the story again, another thing was somebody spoiled what happens at the end for me, because of course they did. Somebody came into my chat and just like spammed it, and I was like, oh, thanks. But interestingly enough, the delivery of how they do it, because what they spammed in chat was like, Clive and his brother die at the end. And I was thinking to myself, gee, thanks. I appreciate that information, you piece of absolute low-life scum. May all of your surprises be spoiled forever in eternity. Like the ending of a movie you're interested in, the ending of a video game you're interested in, the gender of your baby. Everything I always
assume that everybody's gonna die. It's just how it rolls. I just assume that everyone's gonna die at the end.
No, but I feel like the delivery that they did and the way that they did it still got me emotional in the end. The way that Joshua goes out and he's just like,
it's an open book though. It's not said. Like we don't know what happened. They left open enough chains that you could interpret it.
I feel like
ways.
Joshua's gone. Clive.
Then why would they go through the effort of showing his chest being healed, all the blood being gone? They showed him being healed. Why would they go through all that just for him to be like, oh, it didn't work?
I don't know.
Like, that doesn't make any sense to me.
I don't know.
They visually showed him healing the wound, so I'm kind of like, they're opening a door there. We don't know.
A lot of people were definitely on. I mean, I think it's probably Copium, but a lot of people were definitely on Copium on my stream, going like, "Well, we don't know if he dies. I mean, he's in the beach. We know that he's got the curse coming through his hand, but we don't know if he dies." Well, the thing is,
they showed throughout the game that the dominants can feel each other, right? They know that another dominant is there or nearby or whatever. Like they could sense their presence in the world, knowing that okay, they're not dead because I can sense the dominant in them. Like I can still feel, they mentioned about Jill when she was captured. They're like, oh, well, I still feel Shiva's presence in the world, so she's still alive. So I'm thinking at the end, he essentially erased magic from the world and made it just a shitty ass place like we live in today. I said no magic,
Oh yes, the world of Valisthea is so much better with their blatant slavery. But they got magic.
Hey, the earth ain't that much better right now, unfortunately. But,
true.
But lack of magic, right? So they felt that the presence of Ifrit disappear. It doesn't mean he's dead. It means that he's no longer a dominant.
Yeah.
So
I
don't know. It's open. He could have been the author, or maybe he wasn't. Maybe it was Joshua. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe Gav wrote the book. We don't know. There's a lot of open interpretation there.
There is a lot of open interpretation. So there is potential for them having survived. When it comes...
He does because he does like the spell to his brother. Then he's like, oh, shit, this power's too much. Like, he knows, like, it's going to blow up in his face. He's like, screw it. Let's use it to get rid of magic in the world. And then he goes... But not after he does that thing to his brother, so.
When it comes to Sid, did you feel that he maybe died too early? Because I know that that's a complaint that a lot of people have. I think that everybody just wanted more Sid. I think he died exactly when he had to.
Anywhere earlier than 5 minutes before the end of the game would be too early. I mean, he's just that good of a character.
No, I think he died when he had to, right. Because he kind of like gives Clive a motive to do things differently besides just, the motive that he had.
And if it wasn't that early, there'd be no time for him to build this rapport with Otto and Gav and all the other Martha and all of them.
Yeah, because like Sid is like your connection.
He needs time for them to warm up.
Yeah, Sid is your connection to everybody else, so he would constantly talk to Sid and all of the other characters is whatever. Yeah. But the other characters,
it's a world in which
him.
Yeah, like it's a world in which having a simple badge on your chest is like, okay, I can trust this dude. So like, yeah, it's really important for him to have those credentials, so to say. Like, yeah, Sid lives on still, like in me, like is important. So
I thought it was cool,
I love Sid, though.
And then that opens up a lot of really touching cutscenes with like Sid's daughter and stuff like that.
Oh my God, Mid is great. Like.
Such a poor choice. Such a poor choice of name, though.
Like
the modern discourse, that's such a terrible name.
Huh? What do you mean? Why is Mid a bad name?
Don't you know that like when something is mid, it means it's not. Wow.
Well, I've never heard this in my life.
When somebody says that something is mid, it means it's not very good. It's middle.
Huh? Where did that slang come from?
Dude, I can't believe for years.
I've never heard that in my life.
Yeah. People say that all the time. It's like, oh, at best, this thing is mid. It's a very dismissive thing. It's like mediocre. Yeah. Yeah, people use it like that. This thing is mid.
Well, I did not. I thought it was a reference to like Midgar and that kind of the feeling, like
No.
So I was like, Mid's a cute name.
No, it's it's not a very good choice of name in the current generation discourse.
Oh Jesus!
But there's nothing mid about mid. I'll tell you that right now.
She was a little too squealy voice in Japanese. And so she came off a little annoying, although her dialogue was really funny.
Yeah.
Especially when she's like yelling during the battle. She's like, "You idiots!" Like screaming at him. Like in Japanese, it was hilarious.
Dude,
but in English, I like how they pulled her off. She didn't come off as like the country bumpkin type of stereotype, but she was still coarse enough that she was a cheerful little balloon, but you could tell like she had brains.
Dude, I love the scenes with Mid when they're going into the sea battle. I was just like, when they crashed the ships, I was like, yeah, broadsides! And I'm like, there's no broadside cannons? What do you mean? This is a ship battle.
I love the call out. They said, she says, hard starboard. We're all like, yeah, I know that's the right side of the ship. all us Final Fantasy 14 players know. When we heard starboard, we're like, ah! Yeah,
Omega. Like, yep. Omega's a real thing.
It's that gif of Leon DiCaprio going, ah!
No, but that was a really cool scene with the ship catching up to the other ship. You actually get to see the thing. I actually thought that Mid was going to make the hideaway fly because it's an abandoned airship.
Yeah, I was thinking it's because an airship, right?
Yeah, I was like, oh man, just gonna make this thing fly. I kind of like that
they kept it grounded. They're like, nope, it ain't flying.
No, I would have loved, screw that. Make that thing fly, dude. Fly that thing into Origin. Like, that would have been amazing. Just fly that into the final crystal and let's friggin' go. It would have been, I almost feel like that was probably their intention, but then they were thinking to themselves, this is going to be crazy. We're going to need more budget to pull this cutscene off. Yeah. It's not going to work out. It's not worth it.
One thing I wish a lot of the reviewers would have mentioned, though, is they're like, oh, it's not really open world. You go on stages. I'm like, yeah, the first time you go to an area, it's a stage. But after that, it becomes literally connected to every other area in that part of the continent.
Yeah.
And at the end, you have like a really big stage that you could teleport, but you can run it with a chocobo down like, I don't know, like 15, 20 minutes, like all the way across. Like it becomes kind of like a big open sandbox, which is good because if you're doing the hunt board, you got to hunt around for a lot of the rare stuff. And there's some really good items as well you can find. So like,
yeah, you can get a katana. You can get the Masamune, whatever it's called, whatever.
Yeah, they got the adamantine knuckles near the end. Gives you 500 HP more, and if you do it in your second playthrough, you can get 1,000 HP more.
I don't use that. Listen, I use Berserker Ring, Genji gloves, and the thing that increases Giga Flare damage.
See, I have double Shiva Kiss. I love Diamond Dust.
Oh, so. I use Diamond Dust as well. Don't get me wrong.
I did this quest twice, and I fused them. So, and I've got the Ultima weapon, and
I haven't done the Ultima weapon yet.
Unless they do DLC, I'm done. I've done everything in the game. So
yeah, you don't want to go Ultimaniac?
Oh God, no. The arcade mode's not going to be for me.
No, I don't think it's the arcade mode. I think it's an additional difficulty after Final Fantasy mode. It's called Ultimaniac.
No, nothing unlocked.
Oh, nothing unlocks? So. Okay, so it's just the arcade mode.
Ultimaniac is like a trial or whatever arcade mode thing.
Yeah, I'm not interested in increasing difficulty.
I'm not that good.
I was actually thinking that Final Fantasy mode was not as impressive as I was expecting because it's mostly just increased HP. And if you're already doing crap loads of damage, the fights just last a little bit longer. Like, that's it. There's nothing else to it. From my experience.
Yeah, again,
so
I wish they would have pumped up more protect. Maybe introduce haste, like big boss, someone casting haste on him, and now he's attacking twice as fast. Like, that would have been nice.
Something of that nature would have been interesting, yeah.
But I realized, I can't. I don't think they were going at this as like, I want this to be a hardcore action game. I think it really, at the end of the day, is just a blockbuster.
What ended up being your build? I'm probably going to make a video about the build that I'm using right now. But what ended up being your build near the end? What icons are you using?
Phoenix, because it's just too well rounded. So Phoenix, I had the uppercut and the AoE, just the standard Phoenix stuff.
The whatchamacallit, the wings AoE? Okay.
Yeah, then I had Shiva, and for her I put her normal AoE and then Diamond Dust. And then
you're going real vanilla.
Yeah, I know. Then I had Titan, and I had him do the single person like drill attack, and then I put the Bahamut one where you do like the orbs that'll just constantly hit the target.
Yeah.
I put the Bahamut skill on him. And that was my build.
Okay.
I really love Shiva dodge. Like, that's my thing.
Your build is super vanilla. So my build right now is...
I hate Ramu. I didn't gel with Bahamut outside that one skill. I hate Odin, even though I did use him. I had to in one area I used him, but I don't like it.
So let's just, we were talking earlier about, like, you were saying, oh, they're really well balanced. No, Odin is broken. Let's just establish that. Odin is beyond broken. Okay? To give you an idea, did you do, it's not, that's the thing. I don't think it's fun either. I think it's boring as hell.
I mean, you're pausing time, you're building up all the damage, building up all the hits, doing all this work. Boom, you're dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's the same damn thing you're going to do every battle. Like, how is that fun?
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. That's the reason why I don't like it. I don't like the whole idea of using Odin's sword. Not to mention that when you're using Odin's sword, you're not using magic burst anymore because you can't.
Yep. You're not doing a lot of damage either. You're just building up hits.
That thing kind of sucks to be. But the thing is, you're not supposed to use Odin's sword to build up the gauge. You're supposed to use the abilities to build up the gauge, and then you attack as normal outside of it. It's this really weird, convoluted playstyle, but the thing is, it breaks the game straight up. So to give you an idea, Odin's Trial was the one that I almost failed because I don't like using the sword. But I basically, in the last boss of Odin's Trial, I had one slice of health, like a very tiny slice of health, and I had the full boss to kill. And I'm just, okay, build up the gauge, swing, more than half of his life away. And I'm, okay, now I wait a little bit, build up the gauge again, swing, dead. It's like, bro, what is this? It's ridiculous. I wonder how much, if I bothered to optimize, I wonder how much stagger damage I could actually do with Odin. It would be ridiculously busted. But yeah.
Yeah, Diamond Dust is good enough for me. But I mean, ranking the different, what I meant by balance was that they were all unique, like very different. There's really not a lot of overlap between their abilities. So I think people will naturally find which ones they enjoy more pretty fast. And I think that might lock them out of trying new combinations because they'd be like, this works so damn well. And it feels so good.
But that's the thing, you have to try them out because let me tell you, you told me like the very vanilla thing that you got going. So let me tell you what I've got going. So I have Ramu, Garuda,
Garuda, yeah,
and Bahamut. But here's the interesting thing. I don't use any Garuda abilities at all.
Well, you got to have that hook, so when you break
you gotta
that
have the hook,
point, you get that little, love, that's good.
You get that, and also...
Or pulling down the flying enemies. Oh,
yeah, you can also grab flyers, which is useful. But yeah, that's why I have Garuda, but I don't use any of Garuda's abilities. And then in terms of abilities that I use, and they're like spread throughout different things that go in sequence for me to do my breakout finisher. But the idea is, I think that on Garuda, I have the orbs thing that you throw from Bahamut.
Yeah.
And then I have Diamond Dust. So I mastered Diamond Dust, put that on Garuda. Then I have Bahamut, and Bahamut has Thunder Rod and Giga Flare, which are two things that combine together so well. Perfect. And then I have Ramu, with Will o' Wykes and what's the other one? And the Thunderbolt Judgment.
Well, you're just doing lots of hits.
Oh, yeah. So the way that it goes is like this. I'll bring down the enemy to being almost to the point where it staggers. Then I charge Mega Flare. And then charge Mega Flare level 4, and then shoot the Mega Flare. Mega Flare triggers the stagger, run up to him, Diamond Dust, because Diamond Dust instantly maxes out your stagger to 1.5.
Yeah.
And then immediately, by the way, this is with Limit Break. No, Limit Break.
Oh, yeah.
You Limit Break, Diamond Dust, the Bahamut Orbs, together with the Mega Flare constantly pelting during the stagger.
Yeah.
Thunder Rod into Giga Flare. And then at the end of that, Thunderbolt. And then with the remainder, I still pop Will o' Wykes in there and... I've busted 200k stagger damage, and I can probably do even more. But I think that anybody that bothers to master Odin will deal even more damage. It's just
I took it upon myself to master Shiva's evasion. And
Shiva's evasion is really good. Yeah,
setting up the crystal, then doing it perfectly, and then it's just like he's frozen.
Yeah, for a while I was using Thunder Orb combined with Rhyme, which is also very good because Rhyme deals damage and Thunder Orb deals damage, and put them both together. Thing that bothered me about Rhyme is that it goes a set distance. So it's like if there's a monster in front of you, it'll go past him. It'll shoot past him. And I was like, why? Just shoot at the monster. He's right there. So that bothered me about that ability. But yeah, that's the thing. The complexity of the builds that you can make with it is so satisfying. And I'm constantly experimenting to see if I can find new things. I've even been using the Ramu Circle ability. I've been using that quite a bit because it'll stagger enemies. Like when you're in AoE situations and whatnot, it will actually stagger them quite a bit. But yeah.
So just so we don't go like way over 2 hours, I think the other topic I wanted to address was Jill. Because like I really like Jill, and I found her incredibly refreshing because the poor girl's been through so much shit, right? She's like the one person who's got her shit. She probably doesn't, but she's the one grounded character in a lot of the scenes where she does more speaking with her actions and her facials and her body language than anything. And she's always there to ground and bring everybody together, says the right things at the right time. She obviously wants to get with Clive hardcore, and he's an idiot.
Oh,
so he just doesn't. He's just like, oh, he's a moron, which is so funny. But it was refreshing. It's like she's not dressed in a bikini.
Of course she's refreshing. She's the Shiva dominant.
Oh God!
I had to do it. No, I think
like she's there. She's got her own thing going on. She's not the heroine of the story, and I think that's what people are disappointed in. Is that it was like Gav and Otto. She's a supporting character. She just happens to be very close to the main character, but she's got her own stuff. She's got a really good side mission. Which lets her try to get rid of some of her demons, but like she's been abused practically her whole life. So I mean, like the fact that she's got her shit still together somewhat is kind of crazy.
I think that,
and I just was so disappointed when I read that talk about it. Oh, she's just a pretty face. I'm like, the girl is tormented, mature, grounded, and you're calling her a pretty face. Well, you're just looking at her as a piece of meat. Yeah, like that's sexist as fuck.
The thing about that, it's straight up designed for rage clicks. Like that's the whole point of that article, because like I said, the person who wrote that article completely ignores the backstory of the character, which is a really cool backstory. You know, she gets taken away and then she gets abused and then she gets manipulated. Like she was forced to use her dominant powers by people threatening to kill children from her people.
Yeah.
Like they would
commit suicide. Will kill everybody anyway.
You can straight up see it. Like when Clive first battles her, you can straight up see them like holding a like a sword to a girl's throat, and they're like, do it,
Yep.
or we'll off her. So it's like she's been manipulated and abused her whole life. That's her backstory throughout the a decent chunk of the game when we go to fight the Iron Blood or whatever to destroy their crystal. Like, that whole mission is about her. She might as well be the main character in that mission. She's keeping us safe while we're fighting this fire thing using the ice powers of Shiva. She transforms despite the fact that she's damn near dead from the curse. And she still primes into Shiva during that scene. Like, that shows so much agency in the character and so much stuff that she does. That is, did you play the game to write a dumbass article like this? Did you even play the game?
I was so happy when Joshua clocked Clive in the face over him taking her power. I was so happy. I said, that is good writing because that's exactly what should have happened.
That
because
was good.
Like, dude, you know, because of your position of, it's like, in Japanese we call it power harassment, but it's like, you know, you are superior in some standing with somebody that if you say it, they're going to say yes. It's like, how freaking dare you like take advantage of that situation and try to take it all for yourself, you asshole.
He didn't do it though, but it makes sense because Joshua doesn't know. Because in the cutscene, Jill says that she wants to give him the dominant.
Yeah, but he should have.
He should have said no. Maybe he should have. You know, it is what it is. But But again, it's still a good scene. It's still a good scene because Joshua doesn't know what happened. Joshua wasn't on the beach. He doesn't know. So it makes sense. It shows
how protective he is of her. And
and
they're aware that Clive is sort of hogging the story. It's like, dude, you got your friends. If we fail because you just decide to do it all on your own, that's selfish as hell, man. What the hell's wrong with you?
But that was a cool moment. I completely agree. I think that was and again, it makes sense, and it just reinforces the whole brotherhood that they have among themselves, which makes perfect sense. That was refreshing. That was actually one of the things about Jill's story that I wish that I kind of feel should have been done is I feel that Jill should have gone with them to Origin. I think it would have made sense. Like, she doesn't have her dominant anymore, but she still has ice powers.
Yeah.
She can still use ice. They show her using ice after she loses her dominant.
Yeah, the way I took it was that they kind of knew it was most likely a suicide.
It was a one-way trip. But I also at the same time I feel like Jill shouldn't have accepted that, right? I think it would make sense for her character.
Her problem is that I think they tried to explain it, but her and Joshua are both like nearly dead. Like they way have overused their abilities. Their body is given in constantly in and out of the hospital, so to say.
Yeah.
So
I think it kind of makes sense, but at the same time I almost wish that she was also there. But or at least maybe one thing that would have made it a little bit better for me was if she kind of fought for it, but then reached the conclusion that she couldn't go. It's almost like that happens off camera. It's like they talked about it and it's like, no, wait, I can't go because I'm too weak or whatever. But yeah, that would be one thing. That was the only thing that was kind of weird to me. It's like, so everybody's going, but Jill staying behind and there's not even kind of like a conversation there. It was a little bit weird.
It would have been tacky, but I think they could have played and said like, maybe she's like, she got pregnant. She's got another life. I mean, it's possible they don't have condoms in that day. They did the raunchy. Way too late, I must add. It is totally possible.
It is possible. There's no
unless her stonification affected her lower parts, I think.
Jesus! Gaijin! What is
Clive,
wrong
you're so
with
you? Clive is permanently up.
Stop. Oh, God.
You're as hard as rock. Wait a second.
Oh, my God.
That scene was funny with them drying the clothes and sitting naked. I'm just like, I started singing "Kiss the Girl" from The Little Mermaid during that scene.
I feel like
la, 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 la.
I feel like you don't need to be naked for that scene. I feel like you could keep on, you could keep on some clothes while you dry the rest. I feel like. I'm just saying. But then again, in this game, they have a tendency to strip characters naked. Like, for some reason, when they jail Clive after he becomes Ifrit, they strip him naked. I'm like, what? Why? Why am I naked? I'm trying to understand. You could have jailed me with my clothes on.
Hey, it's for exposure reasons.
Yeah, really. Exposure. I was like, the hell has this guard been doing to me for 3 days where I've been naked, tied down to this thing? Like, what is going on here? This is weird.
Yeah, but I like her as a character. She was great. The one character I didn't like was Barnaby. Barnabas? Whatever, Barney, I just call him. Like, he's such a mope. And, like, his weird fetish with, like, Ultima is, like, giving him, like, sexual favors.
That was weird. Ultima giving him sexual favors was weird. I was like, what the hell?
And then, like, turning into his, like, big booby mommy? I'm like, what?
Yeah. That was, I mean, I guess that just shows manipulation, because at the end of the day, his mother is the one who indoctrinated him onto the Malleus religion, which is the religion that worshipped Ultima. So, it makes sense.
I did find it funny that he had a thing for Benedicta.
Yeah, because, I mean, the only way that they talk about that is because Ultima shows up as naked Benedicta, I guess. But it's weird. It feels like Benedicta would basically bed whoever she needed to. She's like, well, I need to bed this guy. But it seemed like she loved Sid. And the rest of them were just like for manipulation. Like, Titan was absolutely being manipulated. Like, no ifs or buts about it. Hugo Kupka was getting manipulated left, right, and center by everyone. Everybody could manipulate Kupka, which is weird, but yeah.
The big jock in the room. The Barnaby with his like half mopey, depressed face. I'm just like, oh my god, just get out of here. But he's got evil Hythlodeus on his side, and that counts.
Evil Hythlodeus? Is it the same voice actor? What? Sleipnir. Sleipnir. Yeah.
Oh man, he looks like Hythlodeus but evil. He looks just like him. And he's got a sexy accent, so like, yeah, it's what you gonna do? And
it was so weird the first time that you see Sleipnir just like punch Hugo in the gut and just like carry him off. I'm like, what the hell is that?
Off we go. I'm like, god damn.
It's like, what the hell's going on, dude? That is weird. But yeah,
I was a little disappointed I did not get an achievement for making the Ultima weapon in FF mode.
My console turned off like achievement notifications for some reason, or maybe I turned them off.
Yeah, there's no achievement for it, so.
But I haven't gotten Ultima weapon yet. I still have to go and craft that.
Yeah.
Is it basically just crafting go to whatever the final sort of normal mode, and instead of that,
you're just
Ultimate?
Doing the same thing, but
except instead of Ultimate, okay,
yeah.
That's what I would expect. So I have to go and do all of the hunts again and all of that stuff. But with the build that I got going, I don't predict those to be a huge problem.
Yeah.
I just destroy everything. Usually if I have to use a potion, one potion, it's like, oh, this fight actually challenged me a little bit. I had to pop a potion. Because most of the game, I was basically running through not using potions. I would heal using Limit Break. Limit Break's there for healing.
There's one cool thing we discovered about the final battle, which I loved. I loved when they were throwing the same icon abilities at each other, and Clive wins out every single time.
Yeah.
Because the whole idea, he's saying, dude, you're so arrogant. You didn't think you need other people. And so it's like, you could have beat us all if you just remained goddish, but you're such an asshole that you've got no friends are not your power type of idea. So like when you kind of get it in the English, but it's super clear in the Japanese. When he starts casting spells, like when he does, I don't know the English lines, but like ice melts or something like that. He's focused on the ability and the power of the icon, and he's throwing it at him. and Clive answers back with the name of the actual like primal or the icon, and then he gets like sort of like a line of dialogue from a character that goes behind it to help him out.
That
in the Japanese, it's kind of weird. Ultima uses the spell names from Final Fantasy III. The spells that are used to summon the character. It's kind of like a nod of appreciation because I know Yoshi P likes FF3. And so he'll say like Ice and Spark, Hetra, Hyper, Catastro, Bahammer. Like he's using the old names from FF3 to sort of cast them like a spell. And Clive is like, Bahamut! Like the character. And I was like, that's nice.
I really like the fact that the characters come in kind of like the voices come in at that point, because it's just like it's such a cool callback. You remember the characters as they say their voice lines and whatnot, and it always kind of gets me a little bit. I'll be real, like just thinking about it, I'm like, oh, that moment was friggin' awesome, dude.
Yeah, so, the heights this game hits is so goddamn high that I think I would call the game a flawed masterpiece, but I don't even want to put the word flaw. I would just say it's a masterpiece. Yeah, sure, it's got flaws and there's areas that could have been better, but you know what? They tried something new, and what they wanted to achieve, I think they did it with flying colors.
I think the
fact that now they can go into FF17 with all this learning about what they tried and what stuck and what didn't, and how they can take that.
That's not Creative Business Unit 3, though.
Of course. But they're still learning, like what fans liked and what they didn't.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how that. Like, listen,
that's true.
I was excited for this one because it's Creative Business Unit 3. The next one, I'm like, I don't know, man.
You guys have to sell me on it.
Anything can happen. Look, it's funny because a lot of people were not sold on 16 because of 15. Whereas I'm like, I don't give a damn about like,
exactly.
Who cares? This is Creative Business Unit 3, so they're good.
Yeah, one thing Yuna mentioned, which I agree with, is the fact that we played 14 first really helped the enjoyment of 16, because we have this backstory and we have this experience with each of the primals. We have, like we know who they are. Like it's not just, oh yeah, Ifrit, that was a summon from like FF6 or whatever. Like no, like, those characters are very at the forefront at the beginning of FF14.
Yep.
And then the fact that we did Ubu, that fight made us really appreciate and love those characters. So like them coming up and we know these characters. That was really cool.
And we didn't get Leviathan. People are speculating that could potentially be DLC. DLC Leviathan. We'll see how
definitely
that turns
possible.
out. There were people saying that the little medicine girl is going to be the Leviathan. I'm like, I don't know about that.
Got your potions, tinctures. Everyone ignoring.
She saved Dion, dude.
Yep. And now she's got Terrence and a buttload of money, and she's going to get a good upbringing, so that's good. But then again, there's no more magic in the world, so I mean, if she was the dominant, then like that was flushed down the toilet when Clive destroyed the final Mother Crystal.
Dude. But Uncle Byron, he has to be the best character, dude. Uncle Byron is so
is hilarious.
It's like, oh yeah, here's what was it, 10,000 talents or whatever. Here it is, and Gav's just like, what? There's 2 boxes of money, and then it's funny because they're both arguing about it, and then later you get a cut scene where the other guy somehow doesn't have money, and I'm like, the fuck did you guys do with all the money my uncle brought over? What the hell is wrong with you?
Accounting errors.
Accounting errors, my ass. Like that was really cool, and I
do wish that they either add or they have. I'm sure they're going to add it, but I would like to see more hunts on the hunt board.
Yes, more hunts.
That felt underused.
Yeah, it was funny because everybody was telling me, "Oh yeah, there's tons of hunts," and I'm like, "There's not enough. I want more hunts. I want all the hunts. I
want to face a cactuar.
How did you like the trials?
They were interesting. It's just I'm not that good. So I can get through the original ones, but like I couldn't imagine doing the harder ones.
The thing is, I don't like that setup of here's a limited amount of time and do this thing and you get more time. And I was able to do them all on the first try, but I did not. I was like, this is not my thing.
I think that's for the true action game lovers, I think.
Yeah. I didn't even try them on the second difficulty or whatever. Do you get rewards for that?
I don't think so. I think there's just an achievement. There might be a rewards. Like, I think there's a reward, like, like very specific to that icon for like their abilities and powering up or cooldown or something. But
there's the charms that you get when you do them in story mode. I was wondering if there's anything else besides that, but I guess probably not. Because I'm gonna have to do at least Bahamut's again to get a better version of the amulet that I'm using right now with additional damage on Giga Flare. Kamehameha! Kill everything. It's so good. But yeah,
my voice is giving out here. But yeah, this was a fun conversation. I'm happy we both enjoyed it. I specifically wanted to do like Final Fantasy mode after the main one, like all in one shot, because I just know how fragmented my gaming is going to be, and I'm still on 14, of course.
Yep.
I know I have a lot of AFK time as well, but it's like I'm well over 5,000 hours on that thing. It's like, Jesus.
It's not
I've never
surprising.
played a game that much.
It's your first MMO. That's the way it goes.
Yeah, but we're having a good time. But I think overall it took me like 40 hours to beat the game and all the side quests and trials.
40 hours?
And then
How did it take me 70?
20, and then an additional 20 to do all of Final Fantasy mode. So
it took me 70 hours to do the damn thing.
Oh wow!
I don't know how.
Yeah, I'm at 60 hours and I finished Final Fantasy mode, but I probably tinkered less than you did.
Oh yeah, I spent a lot of time just playing around with.
We drink our wine at different speeds.
I spent a lot of time tinkering around with the builds, like, oh, I want to do this thing. Does this thing deal more damage than this thing and whatnot? And yeah, because at the end, the main decision was like, do I want Diamond Dust or do I want Phoenix Rebirth? Because I like Phoenix Rebirth more, but Diamond Dust deals more damage. So
yeah,
and more stagger.
What you gonna do?
It is what it is. Anyway, team, that is going to be it for the Final Fantasy 16 version of episode even of the Third Fleet podcast. Thank you all very much for watching. If you enjoyed it, hit the like button, subscribe bell, notification icon, all that jazz. And we'll be seeing you guys in the next one. Stay strong. Stay safe.
And have yourself a healthy Jewel sandwich.